I see some familiar faces here, but for those who don't know about us, just a quick background. The Startup Club is global entrepreneur community. We organize industry-specific pitch nights and investment conferences to connect companies and investors globally. Health tech, fashion tech, fintech, ed tech, green tech are some of the areas we focus. And we are doing this more than 4 years now, since 2019. And we organize over 100 events so far. Today, we invited 8 promising health tech startups. I just share my screen so you can take a look at the presenters as I'm speaking. Each company will do 5-minute presentation that will be followed by 7 minutes Q&A and feedback session with the advisory board members. And the event will take less than 2 hours, so we will finish just before 8 p.m. Central European time and 2 p.m. Eastern time. And we have 4 advisory panel members from reputable investment firms, Nina Capital, TL Ventures, Lunar Ventures, and Plug and Play Tech Center. And I will ask the judges to quickly introduce themselves before we get into the presentation. So, Kate, are you there? Could you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, well, first off, yeah, thanks for inviting me. My name is Keith Winter. I'm a partner at Teal Ventures. We're a health tech venture capital firm, and I'm based in San Diego. And our fund has a target portfolio composition of 50% female-led companies. So that's one of our differentiators. I'm also on the board, and since we're an early stage investors, I'm involved with several of the large angel groups like New Fund Ventures and Tech Coast Angels and the Health Innovation Pitch. So thanks again for inviting me.
We cannot hear you.
No, it's not working.
I think maybe in the meantime, we can continue with the introductions. I'm not quite sure. I suppose that's the best way to move forward.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm Nikki. I'm a health ventures associate at Plug and Play. What we mostly focus on is B2B SaaS digital health solutions, and this can span anything from tech bio to health tech, digital care provision, digital therapeutics, healthcare IT. As long as it has a strong software component, we're very interested. We usually invest pre-seed and seed, so that's our sweet spot. And yeah, happy to be here. Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to the pitches.
Yeah, I think I can follow. I'm Cindy from Luna Ventures. Me personally based in Berlin, but the group is super spread around Europe. We are also early stage investor. We invested in deep tech. For me, more on the bio side, looking to tech bio, platform technology, more on the digital side. That's where our sweet spot lies in, like more machine learning application around the healthcare industry. So looking forward today.
Great. I think I'm the one that's left. Hi, everyone. Great to meet you all. I'm Nadine. I'm a senior analyst here at Nina Capital. We are a health tech specialist fund investing at the pre-seed and seed stages. We invest in a variety of technology with a common thread being a computational element in our technologies. Our geographies are most all of Europe, including the UK, the US, Canada, as well as some bits in Israel. So yeah, great to be here, and thank you for having me.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, amazing. Oh, I fixed the problem. I don't know what happened, but I guess all the judges introduced themselves. Yes. Okay, thank you so much for that, and sorry about the seeming inconvenience. Okay, then we are really glad to have all of you here. Now we can start with the first presentation. By the way, all the people in the audience, you can use chat to interact with the presenters. So usually after pitches, for advisors, later discussion, ask question, give the feedback. And for the rest of them, you can use the chat if you have any questions or if you have something to say. All right then. The first company, the first page is Tada Group. Katerina, CEO of the company, will present the opportunity. Katerina, feel free to share your screen and start the presentation. You have 5 minutes to pitch.
Thank you. Can you please enable the screen sharing?
Okay, I just did.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Who here likes to be stuck by a needle? I would not think so, right? But IV therapy at hospitals, it's the most common invasive procedure. You're all seeing bags like this, IV poles, and it's the most common procedure. 90% of patients admitted to hospital will receive IV. 16 billion IV lines and 1.5 billion catheters are used every year. However, there is a 10% failure rate, and it comes from that there are forces on the tube that are so strong that the catheter gets accidentally dislodged. There are disastrous consequences, safety consequences, both for the patient, that the patient gets injured and there is even a risk of death. And then if the patient has been infectious or has some bloodborne diseases, there is a toxic potential risk for toxic exposure for the healthcare personnel. On top of that, you lose medication and the therapy gets interrupted. Overall, this is $72 billion in unnecessary healthcare consumption every year. And when the problem is that something breaks, the standard solution is to make it stronger. We did the opposite. We made it weaker and smarter. I will actually stop sharing so you can see very well here. That when there is a force on the IV line, our connector splits into 2 parts. You can clean the parts using the protocols at the hospitals and reconnect to rapidly reinstate therapy. Go back. So the key features are that it is a breakaway, it's self-sealable, and it's reconnectable. We have 5 different patents. The first patent is approved in more than 15 countries. So we have a very, you can actually even see some of the patents on our wall. It's a strong foundation and we're very proud of it, actually. On top of that, we have regulatory approval for CE mark. FDA will be registered within a month for the first relink, and the second one within a year. We are ISO 13485 certified. Having said the 2 different FDAs, just so you know, is that relink is a platform technology. So you can use it for tubes going, catheters going into the body as well as out. So the FDA that will be registered is for nephrostomy drainage. But that's obviously really amazing. We're very happy about that. My co-founders and I met through Clinical Innovation Fellowship, where we followed Stanford biodesign process to identify unmet needs. And that's where we found the need for safer infusions. It's a multidisciplinary team. And from that base, we have handpicked an amazing team with different backgrounds from both financial, veterinary medicine, medical doctors, and salespeople. So it's an amazing team. We've also handpicked a board that also have the experience of M&A. We have, from market tractions and hospitals, we are having 7 clinical trials in past or about to just start. The first is for human care, was in Sweden for a class 1 device, and we concluded that clinical trial last year, and we managed to successfully conclude it with 73% reduction. Then we have 2 ones with animals, 1 in Sweden on dogs and foals, and in the US on foals. These will be concluded within a few months. Spain and Portugal are also going to be concluded in a few months. That's for a class 2 device we're doing with pumps. We have managed to get sponsorship from the European Innovation Council to run all of these clinical trials, apart from the one in the US that we've paid. On top of this, we're doing clinical trial for nephrostomy drainage. We've also managed to sell 1 sell Relink into an NHS hospital. Apart from that, we're just about to move into commercialization. We have done a lot of preparation for all of those things by qualifying, going from several hundred possible sales distributors. We qualify them down to 98, so we can actually handle the calls and those things. We have connected with roughly half of them, and half of that we are in active discussions. We have sent in letters of intent, signed some, and also have some full-going discussion with the actual sales agreement. Filtering all of these down, it will be $150 million in revenue by 2028, selling 70 million Relinks. And those are by 1 to 2% of different markets. So it's, again, you remember the 16 billion IV lines is a huge market. So I'll be happy to have special meetings with you individually to go through the names of these and the countries and the actual percentages. Worth knowing is also that the disposable market worldwide is worth $30 billion. And if you can shift it to your advantage with 1 to 2%, it will add up to $500 million. And that's if you add a component to existing kits, you can increase the price slightly, increase market share, and hence add a huge value. It's a revenue trigger adding Relink, and that's also why those it's going very well for us when it comes to talking to sales.
Amazing. By the way, I have to stop you there, Katerina. We already passed the 5 minutes, so maybe
sorry.
Go to the Q&A.
We're looking for 2 million to make the run and lower the price and getting investment for tools.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Katerina. Great presentation. Okay, let's start with Cindy. Do you have any questions? What do you think about it?
Cool. So I think from my side, first question actually around the product pipeline, because I see you have 3 different kind of certification for your devices. So I'm wondering if there's something not shown actually.
It's the platform technology. It's the same product, but depending on the regulatory approval and the instructions for use, you need different ones. So it's pretty straightforward, I find. Did I miss something about the question, Cindy?
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Cindy. Kate?
Thanks for the presentation. I had a couple of questions. Aren't there competitors in this market?
There are 2. Fine, you can also have state of the market where people actually use medication to make them sleep. Sometimes people tie them up, use more and more gauze or tape, whereas there are 2 American companies that are also breakaway connectors that you probably might have heard of, if that was it. But there is also, if you have PICC lines, because you can have infusion, you can have them going in like a PIVC, and if you have them like in a PICC line, they go to the heart, and then you can have central. And if you secure, there are lots of securement devices securing it stronger. There, for instance, you have Securacat with the metal hooks. So there, it depends on, there are competitors. Oh, yeah. But there is also a really, really good and big market, Keith. And we've spoken to a lot of, all the large players, and they've also said that they are determined to do something within this field, and they like the solution and the feature that we have with reconnectability. I'll be happy to actually talk to you and meet you and actually tell you the names of these, because it's really impressive names. Having said that, I'll be in Dana Point at LSI next week, which is really close to San Diego. So I could actually, I would be happy to meet you in person and run through the presentation. I have really good data and plans for who's going to sell where, and also the exit strategy.
Yeah, can you be a little bit more specific about what your cost will be when you get to scale, and then what you think the average price will be?
We have a pricing grid. So if you use it for nephrostomy drainage, you would be able to sell it for €20 because the cost to replace it there is between $5,000 and $10,000. If you have elderly care, in somewhere in Europe, they would not, they wouldn't want to pay $2 for this. They want to have it lower. And we have designed this to be low cost at scale. And we also have offers from manufacturer that proves that that can be achieved. We have a 3-step way going there and getting there. So the first, increasing the cavities in the tools. Second one is doing a halfway towards full automation by having it really secured. And then the second one where we actually go with fully automated. So we can, it's going to be below $1 to produce them. I don't want to say exactly, but most will be able to pay €2 for elderly care, etc. Whereas having said that, there are 2 key drivers for our product: the scale of 16 billion IV lines and also chronic shortage. You have chronic shortage of nurses, medicine, hospital beds. And the worldwide nursing is 3.97 nurses per 1,000 people. In the US, you have almost 3 times that number. Still, there is lack of nurses. The UK have 8 nurses per 1,000, and there are 12% of the nursing positions that are not filled. And you can really save time with this and the restart of things. So, and of course, then you might think that, no, we're not going to fire nurses. No, but perhaps you don't have to add the rental nurses that you're having. So there is, actual money to be saved in the health economic exercise here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Nikki or Nadine, we have less than a minute, so maybe just one of you can contribute as well.
Yeah, sure. I'm happy to go. Just one question for me was, thank you so much for the presentation. One of the doubts I have is the problem actually with, the connector and the sort of the catheter itself, or is the problem that nurses aren't able to identify the right veins to properly insert a catheter?
The nurses are really excellent. I mean, they're most nurses that I have met are.
Oh no, I know. I'm speaking from experience. I've been, tapped over and over and over again trying to find a good vein, and so I'm just trying to figure out if what's the right problem.
No, this is not the problem. If you have, here you have it in the hand. You can have it here. I have really easy, but if I look at my aunt or small kids and things like that, it might be more tricky. Whereas the nurses are really good in doing that. But if it's first. Of course, some people have harder veins. You're right about that. Usually they manage to get it anyway. Whereas then 10% are really, on average, we have, is it 100 articles, 98 articles, something like that. On, the 10% is the average that get fully ripped out during use. And then on top of that, as you say, some people have, it's hard to put into some people's vein. And if you finally find one and then it get ripped out, it's of course a disaster. But it's also if it's blood and if it's chemo in the bag, it's toxic. So it is a huge problem, and everyone knows about it. Infusion Nurses Society gives out guidelines like every 3rd year or something. They just got out with a new one, and that indicates that IV dislodgement is a huge problem, and that one could look at breakaway connectors. Yeah. They phrased it slightly.
Katerina, I have to stop you there. We pass the time. Thank you so much. Great answer.
Thank you. Thank
you. Feel free to reach out to Katerina to learn more about the opportunity. Thanks so much, Katerina.
Thank you.
And the next company is Endiatx. Tori Smith will present the opportunity. Tori, feel free to share your screen and do your presentation. Our Thomas, by the way, I told a story, but Thomas, sorry about that.
Hello, yes. Hello, I am Thomas. I am head of manufacturing, and I'll be presenting Endiatx with Quinton, our chief engineer.
Hi.
So around the world, every 39 seconds, someone dies of stomach cancer, and an early diagnosis could impact several hundreds of thousands of patient outcomes a year. The most commonly used diagnosis process today are EGDs, and some of you may have experienced this, but these are highly invasive, expensive. They can take up to months to get an appointment. They have long lead times. Sometimes you have to take medication, and they're generally not very accessible. With Endiatx, we present PillBot. So PillBot, there are no hospitals, no drugs, and no wait times. The patient can be in the clinic or in the comfort of their home, will only have to skip one meal and swallow a large cup of water. And then the doctor could be in the same room as the patient or on the other side of the world, will be able to remote control the pill inside the patient's stomach, allowing them to perform their diagnosis.
So our journey started 5 years ago in 2019. We just turned 5 years like a couple days ago, so that's a huge moment for us. We came from a football-sized robot that looked like a torpedo, and now we are scaling down to a robot that is like really, really small, 30 millimeter of length. This journey was amazing. It included a lot of founding effort, thanks to Tori and Chris, our Chief Business Officer. And we have a lot of patents across the world. This journey is amazing. Yeah. So this is our competition. As you can see, PillBot, they require no visit to the hospital, no sedation, is telemedicine enabled. You can do this all over the world, and it's remotely maneuverable. And none of the product in the market check all this mark right now. So right now for let's talk about financial. Yeah. Right now, if a physician would like to do an endoscopy, he's going to get $118 in reimbursement. Is going to be $336 for a PillBot. So a huge win for them. This is what we would like to give them, the opportunity to grow with a easy product. And like the addressable market is 10 to 100 times more with telemedicine compared to any other device that are remotely maneuverable or at hospital. This is our team. Yeah. This is our plan for the 2026 market entrance. We are doing right now, or we are starting in a couple of weeks, or OUS study in New Zealand. We are eager to start presenting the first trial as safety and reliability inside the stomach. That's a huge win for us. We are currently start to raise Series A, and we are finalizing our seed round. And yeah, PillBot is going to be the first MVP product that we're going to ship after the FDA clearance in 2026, hopefully. And yeah. So this is our team. We have Tori Smith, the CEO and co-founder, Alex Lupke, the chairman and CTO, and Vivek Kumbari, the head of Mayo Clinic for the GI department, who is one of the co-founder and board member. We are also supervised and helped by the best doctor in the world. If you see the best GI doctor, the 10 best GI doctor, this is the six of the 10 best doctor in the world in terms of GI. So we are really grateful to have them in our board of advisor.
So the plan for the future, we're currently working on PillBot 1. Soon we'll be developing PillBot 2, a smaller, more efficient, longer battery life version of the PillBot. After that, we're going to transition from a passive viewer in the human stomach to an active surgeon with pill surgeon. The PillBots are also essentially a data collector in the human stomach. And so we'll have a data service accompanied by AI tools, various data structures. And ultimately, we'll be going smaller, and I mean way smaller, with MEMS like robotics inside the human brain, tackling brain tumors.
So right now, our goal is to have a remote device that physician can control inside the human stomach, and they can detect any disease. But the final goal is to have an AI doing this for them and generating a report so they can look at the report, check if there is any error or not, and do their job, what they're trained for, not controlling an EGD or detecting stuff inside your stomach. Everything is going to be automated thanks to AI for remote control and visual detection.
All right, I have to stop you there, and I'm sure you will talk more about it through the Q&A part. Okay, Nikki, let's start with you if you want this time.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much for the overview. So I have a line of questioning that I think one will go into the other. So the first question, and maybe it's a stupid question, is where does the pill go after it's done doing what it's supposed to do, and how long does that take?
The pill just goes through your system, and it can take up to 72 hours, but usually just maybe 12 hours. It's out of your system. Yeah.
Okay, and then, I mean, I'm guessing it's not degradable, like it will just be discarded as such.
It will be discarded, yeah. If we
Okay.
look at just the environmental impact, it produces 500 grams of waste for a typical EGD versus 3 grams of waste for the PillBot.
So, okay, and in terms of cost, because that's the other thing, I guess usually there are components that are reusable, but in this case, that wouldn't be the case, right?
These are very cheap. They're currently $50 to produce one PillBot, and when we go to scale, this will reduce quite a bit. And they're one-time use.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Great, thank you, Nikki. Cindy, do you have any question?
Yeah, so I think it's kind of a follow-up questions in the sense that I will want to understand that how the patient journey will be looking like a patient would meet with a doctor, and how do they communicate, take it in, and then how is the safety, concerns that are being relayed to the patient, for example.
So the communication, so there's kind of two paths, right? The patient can be in the same room as the doctor, and they can be talking face to face, but you can also imagine this being over a Zoom call. So the patient can be at home, and all they need is the PillBot and a computer, and they can have the Zoom call with the doctor while they perform an endoscopy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. Kate.
Thanks for your presentation. So I have a couple of questions. Maybe you can just give short answers. So the first one is, are there any patient willingness issues with this vis-a-vis endoscopy?
No, there aren't really. An endoscopy is an extremely invasive process. With a pill, it's as simply as swallowing a large vitamin-sized pill kind of thing.
Okay.
And so those patients would, yeah.
Yeah, and then you have a competitor, PillCam, and it looks like your differentiation is maneuverability. So maybe you can explain the value of that.
So it's more than just maneuverability. The cost is much lower, right? It's just a pill and a computer in the doctor's office. It also enables telemedicine. With NaviCam, the cost is a lot higher, requires a very large structure inside the clinic, right? A huge, very large device. It's very expensive, and it doesn't allow telemedicine.
Okay, and then the last one on PillCam, they have an SBI. It's a suspected blood indicator. Will you guys have that feature?
I think be adding them up.
Pictures of areas that it identifies as having blood. So I don't know that it's that sophisticated, but have you built that in?
With the first PillBot, we're really focusing on being eyes inside the patient's stomach for the doctor. With PillBot 2, we'll be adding sensors on board and various other components.
Oh, one other one there. I think they talk about issues in other areas, right, outside the stomach. Are you considering that also? So the intestine, for instance.
Yeah. So PillCam, for example, is a passive pill that you swallow. The issue with PillCam is that when you're in the stomach, it's large volume, so it can't really look around. So they have to wait for it to go through, and then it looks at the digestive system. We're really focusing on the stomach, that larger volume, right? So the patient can drink water, and then the pill can drag around from now. But with future iterations, we can definitely imagine, extending the battery life and taking imagery inside the digestive system as it goes through.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Medina?
Yeah, one of the things I wanted to ask was that you mentioned that this could also happen. Well, at least the deck mentioned that this could also happen with ER doctors, nurses, as well as GPs in primary care could use this. But are they trained, and do you think they'd be able to interpret the results, and would they require training?
We'll definitely be starting with gastroenterologists as doctors who will be driving this. When we start adding AI tools with automatic diagnosis processes, then maybe it can open up to various other medical staff.
Yeah. Okay, got it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Time is also almost up. Thank you for the presentation. Thank you for the question and contribution.
Thank you for your time.
And feel free to reach Endiatx to learn more about the opportunity. All right, then. The next company is Lymphatica Medtech. Marco Pisano, CEO and co-founder, will do the presentation. Marco.
Perfect.
Are you done?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Perfect. I'm going to share the screen. And it's... Okay. Can you see my screen? Perfect.
Yes.
Great. So happy to present to you. I'm Marco, co-founder and CEO of Lymphatica Medtech, which is a company based in Lausanne, Switzerland, developing innovative solution for lymphatic diseases, and in particular for chronic lymphedema. Lymphatica is a clinical stage company, very operational efficient, and based on robust IP, and we are developing a class 3 permanent implant for the treatment of lymphedema. We are addressing a very large market, which is mainly untapped, with no direct competition, and we are facing it. We plan to conquer it with our device, LymphoDrain. We have positive initial clinical evidence with 9 patients implanted and with very positive results. And we have reached this point with about 5.5 million in equity, between equity and convertible debt right now, and grants. We are currently raising a Series A of 12 million euros. We have a signed term sheet from a lead investor and about 80% filled round. We are looking for investor to fill the round. But first of all, what is lymphedema? Lymphedema is a chronic condition mainly caused by a damage to the lymphatic system, mainly due to cancer treatment, other surgery, radiotherapy, chemotherapy. And all this treatment, what they do, they make an interruption on the lymphatic system that normally drain our body. And when it happens in the arm or in the legs, that arm or that leg is no more drained because a tube broke simply. And because of that, there is an accumulation of lymph in the arm, which causes lipid accumulation, fibrotic tissue accumulation, and a series of problems like pain, recurrent infection, and so on. As of today, there is no existing cure. This disease is chronic. It's a condition with which patients need to live for the rest of their life. They need to manage it with compression garments, massage, and therapies that they really condition their life until the end of their life. And this is not a rare condition. There are approximately 10 million estimated patients between Europe and US with this condition. So this is a clear unmet medical need. At Lymphatica, we face the problem with developing LymphoDrain, the first lymphatic active bypass for lymphedema treatment. It's a real breakthrough device, as confirmed by the FDA that gave us recently the breakthrough device designation, and well covered by 3 patent families. It consists in mainly in a pump, a subcutaneous pump, and a series of two catheters that are used to substitute the drainage function of the lymphatic vessel. These are implanted only subcutaneously. The pump itself doesn't have any battery nor electronic, but a magnet, and is magnetically controlled with a wearable device. The patient, when it presses a button, starts activate the pumps, which start working, and so draining continuously the fluid like their normal lymphatic vessel would do. The pump itself is controlled remotely via the doctor, thanks to a web platform. So the procedure to implant the device is very simple. It's about half hour. The surgeon, the vascular surgeon, just make a short incision in the arm, place the pump under the skin, and then with the standard tunneler, place the first drainage catheter. With the same tunneler, places the second output catheter, always subcutaneously, and that's it. So then when after half hour, the patient wears the wearable controller and presses a button, the pump starts working, then absorbing the fluid from the subcutaneous tissue. So not from any vessel, there's no connection with any lymphatic vessel nor vein, it's only from the subcutaneous tissue. It enters the green catheters, through the pump, passes to the blue catheters, and then goes out again in the subcutaneous tissue, where it's then reabsorbed by the functional lymphatics in the output region. So we have 2 versions of the device, one for arm lymphedema and one for leg lymphedema. They all work the same. The device itself is the same. It's just the anatomic location, which is different, and the length of the catheters. We are targeting a very large market with the so-called stage 2 lymphedema patient. The stage of lymphedema, it's an indicator of the gravity of the excess volume in the arm. In Europe and US, in arm and leg, this segment has an incidence of about 180,000 new patients per year and a prevalence of about 2 million patients, for a market that we quantify in about $5 billion annually. We run a feasibility clinical trial, a pilot clinical trial in Switzerland, with 9 patients implanted for 2 months with a minimum viable product. We had very good result with no serious adverse event. None of the patient had to use any compression. So on top of taking away the compression garments from the patients, we were able to reduce additionally the volume of the arm, the excess volume of the arm, of 30% in these 2 months. There were also no occlusion or problems with the pump, and again, the usability for the surgeon was cleared. We had very.
I have to stop you there. We passed the 5 minutes already.
Perfect. Just to say that we are now raising a Series A of 12 million, which is 80% filled, in order to reach FDA approval and CE mark, so to run a pivotal clinical trial of between Europe and US.
Thank you. Great. Keith, would you like to start? Do you have any question?
Sure, thanks for the presentation. So for the FDA right now, there aren't any existing CPT codes, correct?
No, there are not existing CPT code. We will ask next year, just prior to the pivotal clinical trial, the CPT code 1, and we'll be able to ask a CPT3 code the year after the end of the clinical trial. While there is a coverage already in place, by the way, one for the Lymphedema Treatment Act, which was passed in the Senate this year, actually last year, and functioning from January 1. And two, because there are 2 requirements covered by the breakthrough device designation for the coverage itself, and also for the NTAP payment, additional payment for new technologies.
Okay, and then just to be clear, there has to be coverage for the actual surgery too, right? So there's the surgery and the device, right?
Yeah, so there's not going to be any code for the device, but the device is paid with the surgery. So it's part of the procedure. So
Okay, I
what,
understand.
the
Yeah.
only thing out of the procedure is for the remote monitoring, which that one we can already have. We are already eligible for the reimbursement for the remote monitoring.
Okay, and I just had one more question. So you're raising, I think it was 12 million, right?
Yeah.
And then I think when I look through your appendix, you're also going to need to raise again in 2027. Is that true?
So as I put here, we put either an exit or a Series B. So we believe that after the approval, we can already get an exit. Of course, we have the plan to grow and do the adoption phase with our forces through a Series B.
Okay, thanks so much.
Thank you. Adina, do you have any question?
My key question was actually on reimbursement as well, which I saw that Keith covered. So thanks.
Thank you. Cindy, how about you?
I think my question would be actually around the technology and the experience of the patient. So for example, have you ever monitored the risk that you need to replace or repair any part of the devices? On the other hand, it's going to be a surgery, it's going to be under the skin. Is there any effect, for example, to patient life of quality, for example, even exercising? Is that even possible?
Yeah. So actually, as a feedback from the patient, not only exercising is possible, but is much more easy for the patients because they don't have to wear the garments and because they don't have pain and they regain, many of the patients, they regain sensibility to the arm itself. So the moment they are empty of their additional liquid, they can actually do all the activity they can normally do. So that's actually, there's absolutely no contraindication. Regarding substitution, there would be the need to substitute only the pump head, which is a bit like changing the head of a pacemaker, the battery of a pacemaker, every X number of cycles, so like which correspond, if going at the max velocity for the pump, to minimum 3 years. So it could be between 3 and 6 years. We have a counter of cycles, and there would be a replacement needed for the pump head itself. For the catheters, there are data that they should stay in place for more than 6 years. We believe about 10 years in average, with the data from the hydrocephalus shunts. And to substitute them, like to remove them, we actually did it, and is a 5-minute surgery. They come out like a spaghetti without absolutely any problem.
Thank you. That's clear.
Thank you. Nikki, how about you?
That's a wonderful image you left us with. I mean, my questions were along the same line, so I'm just going to ask, so how, I don't remember if you mentioned it, but how often does the patient need to like redrain? Like how often does it need to be activated?
So that depends on the patients. It will be between 8 and 16 hours a day that the bracelet needs to be worn, let's say that. During the clinical trial, they wore it for 24 hours a day, because we need to start somewhere. But we've seen that we can reduce up to 16 and 8 hours a day. But of course, patient with a bigger lymphedema will need to be more towards the 16, and patient with a smaller lymphedema, they can stay about 8 hours.
Got it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Nikki. Thank you for the answers, Marco, and great presentation. Feel free to reach out to Marco. By the way, for all the presenters, you will have access their emails. We will follow up after the conference with poster and everything, so you can reach out to them, for all the people in the audience. Thank you, Marco.
Perfect.
And the next presentation is Dentcense. Mahu, CEO of the company, will do the presentation. Mahu, feel free to share your screen and start the presentation. You have 5 minutes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Just a second. Yeah. we are Dentcense, a dentistry robotic system to enable dentists to do dental operation and practices remotely from anywhere at any time that they want. So among these transforming in the dental industry, which has not been changed for decades, some problems like lack of dentists and difficulty accessing to dental services in the private area, and risk of the virus like COVID-19 due to the close contact with the patient and dentist, and also the unpleasant and fearful patient experience and invasive methods would be a problem, which our solution is dentistry robotic system, which combined AI, machine learning, and robotics with the VR and also an ergonomic console for a dentist with the software to manage this robotic system. Our products would be like a dental kiosk that deploying around the cities and countries, and any patients, they can just open their app and find the nearest kiosk, and they go to this kiosk, follow the instruction, put their mouth, and any available dentist like Uber joining the dental kiosk to start the treatments with their console and the software that they have. Our benefits is very easy accessible, just few clicks, and the patient can access to dentists, and also dentists can access to patients, and it can do all procedures in dentistry with the nano-dentistry, minimal invasive, and one of our significant is we are first to market. There is some competitors like Yomi and Morita. They are mostly in single task in robotic assisted like implantology, but the difference between us and our competitors is our product is multitask and semi-autonomous in dental services. As I said, our product can do all the services in dentistry, from the cosmetic to complex surgery, comparing with our other competitors. Dentists and governments would be our main clients to buy these different products, and different products would be for different clients also. The market opportunity for dental services is 360 billion plus dental market, and dental equipment and robotic platforms together in total would be 500 billion in total annually. For the market size, I mean, and we aim to launch our early product by mid of 2025, which is the software for the universities and its dental simulator, and we aim to reach to 12.5 million by selling all feature and function of our products by 2029. The business model of our products is different for each product and each client. So from B2B, B2C, and software base of subscription, and also the B2G would be our business model for our different products. Our roadmaps, we are looking for, at the first stage, we are looking for 1 million investment to develop our prototype, the hardware, and also developing the software and make the software ready by mid of 2025. And we need to raise another 5 million in Q3 2025 to make our MVP and also the clinical trial to be ready for the CE certificate and also FDA approval, and another 4 million in Q1 2028 to go for the CE certification and officially launch the full feature of our product. Here is our team. Our team has different expertise. They are working on different departments with different expertise, with the passion, and also with their hearts during the hard time with the lack of the funds. I think our goal thing is with our team that they are responsible of different parts of the company. And me, I am Dr. Mahur. My background is dentistry, and I'm the visionary of this product that bring dentistry robotic system to life. And thank you so much for listening. And here is our contact information. I would be more than happy to answer your questions.
Thank you. Great presentation and great timing. Nikki, would you like to start this time?
Sure, thanks for your presentation.
Sorry.
Yeah, did someone else want to go? I'm fine with going. So the questions I had are two of them, and maybe you can't answer them, but you surely have thought about them. One is, do you think patients would be open to this? That's one. And then I think the other one is really, I mean, do you think you can do this in a cost-effective way, that the economics are favorable in it? Because it seems to me the hardware would be very expensive. I'm not sure how you're going to do your model. But maybe it'll take a long time, given the margins in a lot of dentistry, that you really can't make this a viable business. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you for the question. The first question, that would be a challenge, but we are focusing on next generation who growing with the AI, and at this timing, they are growing with the AI and these robotics are around. So next generation would be more friendly with these systems. And of course, it takes us a lot of tests and materials to prove our products. However, there is some robotic surgery like Da Vinci. They are now operating for doing surgery on different part of the body, and the risk of this surgery already reduced, and it's more precise and also safer for a patient. For the second question, actually, if we are focusing more in the software side, the console is not a very complex console. It's very simple console that can just control the machine remotely. However, it would be like this. The CBCT scan will generate the model of the real patient situation to the virtual environment. And in virtual environment, the dentist will try to do to treat that teeth without the real operation yet. So after he finish in virtual environment, the data will transfer by machine learning to the system, and already the system knows how the treatment is. And in case of cyber attack or network disconnection happens, the dentist can just take over manually. The connection happens again, and with those sensors and cameras, with a very simple console, they can just control it very easily. So it's not very expensive console for them.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Nikki, would you like to continue?
Yes, of course. Thank you so much. I'm kind of wondering, so what are the initial indications that this will be used for? I suppose both for the software itself and then especially for the hardware, because as you're saying with the software, there's still a dentist involved, but with the hardware, it sounded like you want to have like an autonomous dentistry practice that can be accessed anywhere. So what are the initial indications that you're planning to use this for?
The software itself has the environment like dental simulator. If I want to give example, it's like flight simulator. If you are familiar with it, it's dental simulator, and it gives access to all necessary instruments and tools that dentists need. And in the kiosk, there is more than 300 products that has advanced tools and advanced instruments that it's already matched with the software by the order of dentists, that it can get the necessary instruments and tools to control the patient treatments. So the software has two functions, and we are aiming. The first function is demo software for the educational purpose. So the students can do the practice and treatments in the virtual environment than going for the real patient and do tests and failures. So they can raise their knowledge and confidence to how would be the treatments. And the next function of this software is it connecting to the machine and give this, actually the dentist just has this software to controlling the patient teeth. So this software is very complex, it's very detailed, and also has all the instruments and whatever the dentist needs to use in this environment.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Nikki. Nadine?
I think most of my questions were answered, but really what I guess the question I also want to ask is, what is the key incentive or the key value proposition that you're looking to prove? I can understand that it's something that will enable a lot of benefit, a number of benefits, but what do you think is the one that you're going to be pitching your customers with and that they're going to find the most valuable?
Accessing dental services, especially in the private area and provinces around the cities, they are suffering from this lack of dentists and services.
Okay.
Great. We have just less than a minute, so maybe Cindy, if you have any feedback or comment, maybe just a short question.
Yeah, thank you for the pitch. So I think a quick question. So as you talk about is like rural area. So which means that is there still any current competitors in focus on this area, or?
Yes, there is some competitors I have mentioned. They are mostly working on single tasks. So it's like a GPS. It's guiding the dentist. It's not remote. It's guiding dentists to how to place the implant. And there is also imaging that using AI to generate the 3D models. But our product is not treatment. It's a set of advanced instruments that can do all treatments with the AI and help of AI and dentists.
Amazing. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you for the answers, Maura, and great presentation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And now we can move to the next presentation.
Thank you so much. Have a great time.
Thank you. Next company is Clear.bio. Piet, founder and CEO, will do the presentation. Piet, feel free to share your screen. And
yes, I'm in. Yeah. Good evening from Amsterdam. I'm sharing my screen. Can you confirm that you can read it?
Yes.
Good, great. So we are a company that reverses diabetes 2 by precision nutrition. We just got reimbursed in the Netherlands. We're expanding abroad. I think I'm the first in line that is really a digital therapeutic. We make people better with software and data. This is a known business model. Facebook has done it for more than a decade. And they make people buy differently or vote differently. We make people eat differently. So the problem we're solving is this surge of chronic diseases that is getting to us. The average life expectancy in the US is already decreasing because of chronic diseases. Every patient that is being diagnosed has to come to a practice or has to be treated several times a year. So that problem is getting bigger and bigger, and we expect 1 billion patients by 2050. One of the problems with diabetes is that 70% of the patients immediately get prescribed metformin. Metformin is the first step to a continuous and ever-lasting medication journey, ending in kidney failure, amputations, etc., etc. We're talking about diabetes 2, which is lifestyle related, and in 90% of the cases it's a diabetes 2 diagnosis. So only 10% has to do with diabetes 1. But I already told you it's lifestyle related, right? So if it's lifestyle related, can you reverse it? And you can. This is the famous, we're indebted here to famous Dr. Unwin, an awarded doctor in the UK, who actually reversed diabetes 2 in 133 patients in his career. What Dr. Unwin did in his career, we did in 1 month. So this is the key message of what I'm bringing you today. We can do what he did, but then automate it. This is based on precision nutrition. So the first thing you have to understand is that your reaction to food is personal. There's no average diet that's good for everybody. You have to figure that out from person to person. And in a later call, I can explain you exactly to you why. So we measure in real time the blood sugar peaks, and a peak is bad and a flat profile is good. So if you get a peak, we actually tell you three things. First, never eat this again. Second, go for a walk because that helps in the digestion of a peak. Third thing, next time you eat something, take this. It's a very simple principle. So if you think about, if you want to understand what it is all about, it's actually our platform, our treatment has three concepts. A sensor, real-time sensor, which we buy externally, a smart app, and a real coach, a real dietitian. In the Netherlands, we are a caregiver, a care provider. Now, let's talk about clinical effects, because that's important. If you have an HbA1c above 6.5, you are diagnosed with diabetes too. So you could give somebody just a sensor. There are sufficient clinical results now that say, okay, just a sensor gives a small improvement, a small reduction of your HbA1c. You could also give somebody a digital dietitian. Some of our competitors are digital dietitians. They help you without the data, without the sensor, but just also to reduce your HbA1c. The most cost-effective reduction actually comes from us. So we're best in class in terms of clinical impact, and also the associated costs are very low. You have to be very effective because otherwise you cannot be afforded in these high volumes that are in the beginning of the funnel. At the end, there are only a few patients, but they are very costly. And at the beginning, you have to make sure that you can serve all these 70 million diabetes 2 patients in Europe, for example. So what does it look like? This is the app. You log your foods. Whenever you eat, you can use barcode scanners, pre-populated lists. Immediately after your meal, it takes about an hour to digest. You get your postprandial response. It's a food score. A good score means you can keep it on your meal lists. A bad score means please eliminate. You work with a real dietitian. You can do this at home. It's self-starting. You have your weekly reports and your meal plans. And we have the practitioners log in who can look over your shoulder. This is how a treatment looks like. It's a 3-month treatment. In the first 2 weeks, you work with a dietitian and a sensor to get your blood sugar under control and you get your precision diet clear. Then there's 2 months of habit formation. And at the end, you do again a 2-week session to make sure that it's really low and you can report back to the doctor and say, listen, I don't need medication. Under the hood, there's a lot of AI. We will be certified this year as a medical device class 2A. Making sure that we can reduce the amount of human interventions and that can be taken over by the app. Meanwhile, we're also connecting to the food ecosystem so that you have your shoppable recipes. You can walk through supermarkets with barcode scanners. You can fill your baskets with your online groceries. And that's actually our product view. So anything that happens between getting the glucose data in and you making a smart food decision, that is our reimbursed treatment. So at the moment, we are reimbursed in the Netherlands. We are expanding abroad. We're raising 1.5 million in equity for the Dutch rollout and getting reimbursed in 1 or 2 other countries. This plan contains a break even within 12 to 18 months. And I'm very happy to answer your questions and to engage in further conversations on this proposition. Thanks for your time.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Piet. Cindy, would you like to start?
Yeah, thank you for the pitch. So I think one question for me is actually, for example, stickiness of the patient, and how do you provide an incentive for patient to really overcome, the feeling of eating, overcome that it's a 3-month period that they need to go through. Yeah.
So we start with these how do you say that, low complex diabetes patients that have just been diagnosed. We know that there's a 3-month window in which they're really motivated to change. After that, they got use of their disease, and they're less motivated. So and to answer your question, we know that the active ingredient of this therapeutic is actually the wow factor is actually, shit, I didn't know it was so bad. So the immediate response that you get on something that, for example, you eat every day, that's the one that people, if we look at our longitudinal studies, people remember that, right? So so that I don't know if that's answering your question, Nikki, but that's the most active ingredient.
Yeah, I think I have one follow-up and that will be it. So, for example, there are a lot of senior people who just getting their diabetes. How do you think this could help them, and how do you kind of educate it or guide them on using your platform?
The amount of senior people that we have is significant. I'm happy that they are getting more digital along the way. I'm also happy that the GP makes a decision if the patient is high complexity. That means that he really has to see a physical nurse or doctor or dietitian, or low complex. We treat the low complex ones, but we also see that taking these people, also the seniors, by the hand with by our dietitian, so the human in the loop, makes a big difference. And we have video calls with them, we have chats with them, so they're very happy that at any time of the day that they have a question, we're ready to answer it.
Thank you.
Thanks for your...
Cindy. Nadine?
Thank you so much for the pitch. One of my questions, you mentioned expansions into other markets. I realize here that you found like a good sort of system fit in the Dutch market. What are your next targets in terms of geographical expansion?
That's a nice word, Nadine, talking about system fit, because that's indeed the case. So there are two other markets that we are currently working on to get system fit. One is Brazil. Brazil is a market that very much looks like the US market, and we are being backed up by one of the biggest healthcare insurers in Brazil to actually get into Brazil. We have a few people on the ground there as well. Once we have a CE mark in Europe, the regulatory situation in Brazil is also a lot easier. And the other one is France. There are, if we look at the big five in Europe, France, the regulations in Pékin are, I think, for us, the ones that we would like to follow, and they're quite friendly. So we're already in touch with them for a few months. So this is actually, these are the two markets that we're looking at.
Okay. Okay.
Keith?
Thanks for your presentation. So I really like what you're doing, and there's no doubt in my mind that you can certainly help people if you get them on your program. The concern I have is the market, and there's two issues for me. One is, and this is a US perspective, right? And we have a 40% adult obesity rate. I think a lot of people are very unwilling to change their diet. So that's one. And then I think the second thing is the GLP-1 drugs, because a lot of people in the US want to get on them just to lose weight. So, if they had a choice, I think a lot of people would do that. So anyway, hopefully you can address those two things. And I don't want to be overly negative because I really like what you're doing.
Thanks, Keith, for sharing your concerns. And so let's get to both of them. Let's first get to GLP-1. I think the end game, between all of us, we can predict the end game. The end game will be co-medication. The end game will be a digital therapy enhanced by medication, because that makes a lot of sense. We're not there yet. We see that GLP-1 has quite some negative side effects. We are actually finding out that for some of the patients that we are treating, GLP-1 is actually either too expensive or the side effects are too large. So, but we are running studies with one of the manufacturers that actually to investigate that co-medication. And I think some of the prescriptions in the Netherlands are already, okay, you can only go to GLP-1 after you've done your lifestyle changes. Then the other thing is the unwillingness to change. I think you're right, but I think from the other end, 40% of the population is quite large. So I think we can find ways to get these people motivated. We're working with a supplier, not of sensors, but of smartwatches. Then it becomes a bit easier to look around for the right foods. We work with, as I was saying, these food retailers with shoppable recipes, etc. Perhaps we can incentivize them. So, but I share your concern, And then again, even if only a part of the population is willing and motivated, let's at least help those, right?
Yeah, well, thank you. I hope you're successful.
Thank you, Keith. Perhaps with your help.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Time is up. Thank you, Piet. Great presentation, great answer. Thank you. And let's move to the next company, which is Artiness. Filippo Piatti will present the opportunity, founder and CEO of the company, or co-founder. Oh, okay, I guess he disconnected and just reconnect. Filippo, are you there? Filippo, can you hear me? Okay, yeah.
Yes, I can hear you very well. Just one second that I will share my screen.
Okay, but I don't see. Okay, now I can see you as well.
Just give me 1 second and I will be able to share my screen.
Okay. Are you ready right now, or
I can start the short presentation?
Okay.
Yeah, if you can give me 5 minutes and go with the other setup, not to block the agenda. Please go ahead. I will be the one after. No problem.
Okay. Let's do that. Okay, then let's move to the next one.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Great. Let's move to the next one. Precision Cardiovascular. Mohammed Abu Alam, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Can you do the presentation?
Hi there, Batuhan. Yes, I am. Yeah. Hello, everyone.
Okay.
Let me just share screen. Pleasure to meet you. So hello, everyone. Pleasure to meet you. I'm Mohammed Abu Alam. I run Precision Cardiovascular. It's a UK-based company involved in remote monitoring for heart failure. And I'm here to tell you a little bit about what we're doing and how this is unlocking and disrupting a category that's been around since the early 2000s. So advanced heart failure is actually the end stage for almost all cardiovascular disease. It's a situation where the heart cannot pump blood sufficiently around the body. It falls into two general classifications. About 2 to 3% of any population is affected by it, and it's extremely debilitating in the sense that it is managed well in clinic and in hospital, but once you're at home, unless you're caught early before you suffer an episode, a heart attack, so to speak, if you suffer it at home or are admitted to hospital too late, then your heart destabilizes and cannot recover properly back to the same level. So most of the degeneration and poor prognosis of heart failure occurs at home. And that's why the remote monitoring category has developed, following patients closely when they're out of clinic or out of hospital. So in the US, there's about 1 million patients who suffer from this category of advanced heart failure. 50%, unfortunately, will die within 5 years, purely because of the lack of sufficient remote monitoring. And it's extremely costly because most admissions are too late or wrong and go straight to ICU. So the annual burden, again, in the US is in excess of $40 billion. The unmet need is a multi-stakeholder one. It's physicians, the heart failure specialists, the doctors, it's the patients, and it's the payers. And all of them are suffering from unmet need, despite there having been solutions in the market for the last decade or more. So what we are doing is offering data-centric remote monitoring. We are the first system that offers a wearable solution that's unobtrusive, can be worn by the patient throughout their daily life without requiring any action on their part. Superficially, it does look like what's in the market today. So when you look on the left, that sensor looks like what is in the market, which we'll touch on in a second. And that is a good thing because this is a regulated product. If you are deployed and look and have form factor and other physical elements that are similar to what is in market, there's much lower clinical and reimbursement risk. In fact, as you'll see in a second, we use the same reimbursement category code of CPT that exists for what's in market. The body-worn reader is revolutionary. So what exists today requires you to lie on bed, supine, out of breath, and take a once daily measurement. By contrast, what you see in the center, this chest-worn patch, pings the sensor inside the body and reads whenever the physician needs it to read, every hour, every 2 hours, or even more frequently, and parses the data. The data is then transmitted wirelessly via the cloud to a channel monitor that is available for physicians, and we're using the same existing workflow of Boston Scientific and Medtronic that exists in the sites and the hospitals today. So it's frictionless for physicians, so to speak. We're working with a number of KOLs in the industry, and a sample quote below really summarizes what this is all about. There is a solution in the market today, but it serves pretty much like an alarm clock, alerts. It doesn't integrate with the physician's daily work, and it does not provide insights and triaging, proactive triaging of the higher risk patients versus the medium to lower risk. Now, just a few numbers. We've touched before about how hospitalized heart patients are expensive, heart failure patients. About 50% will be readmitted within 6 months. And the whole reason and rationale economically for the existence of remote monitoring is that a single avoided hospitalization recoups the cost of the device. That being said, besides performance benefits that Precision offers, we have economics that are much more favorable to what's in the market today. So we're between a sixth and a fifth of the existing product's cost. And there's established historical reimbursement that we piggyback on and use, but differentiate because our device is distinguished by not needing calibration like others. So the market that exists today, in the lower part you see are patients who are known to have reserved ejection fraction. These are ones whose symptoms appear when they're sedentary, sitting down, and those comprise about 50% of the market. Those are addressed today, but not very well in terms of data, as we've touched on. However, there's an entire other 50% of patients, preserved ejection fraction, in the top part of the screen. Those are the ones whose symptoms appear when they're walking, active, going out, upstairs, etc. And unfortunately, those are largely unaddressed, primarily because the existing solutions are not designed for everyday wear. We do address that. We have an accelerometer built into the wearable patch. So we're able to correlate activity with measurements that we read, and we're also able to derive response, physiological response inside the body to activity. So that gives much deeper insight into the daily progression of the patient and conveys that to his or her heart failure specialist. In terms of what Precision offers versus what's else in the market, so CardioMEMS belonging to Abbott has been on the market for a number of years, and Artiness has just submitted its PMA via the FDA, so it's approaching market today. However, both of them use a different technology to what we offer. Their technology is mains powered and does not offer the data-centric benefits. There is a further company, Vectorious, appearing lower right, which offers a direct measurement from inside the heart, but medical community opinion has been that this is a high-risk deployment procedure and is as such not really received very well.
Mohammed, thank you so much. I have to stop you there. We exited time already.
Sure.
Okay, let's go to the Q&A part. Nikki, what did you think about it? Would you like to start this time?
Yeah, I mean, I think we haven't really talked about like what the current stage of your product development is, and like what some of the endpoints, because I understand that the wearability is quite an important factor in your solution, but I'm kind of trying to understand like how much better, like have you proven out already how much better the results are?
Yes, so we're at preclinical stage. I'm sorry, I'm not quite sure if you can see the screen now. I've got a bit of an issue. Yeah. So we are at preclinical stage. We've completed our porcine tests, acute tests in pigs, and that's passed straight away. We're currently undertaking our chronic tests, which follow in the first in human early feasibility study in the US, which rolls into a pivotal study. So in terms of the wearability factor, that is a slightly different angle, because that's where the data platform exists and the parsing of the data. That has been consistently one of the key reasons why physicians have resisted further deployment of what's in the market today, CardioMEMS, because the belief is that an invasive procedure needs to have with it a proactive solution that conveys everyday activity. So this indeed is a big element, and it's one that is separate to the regulatory approach that we're doing with the implantation itself.
Got it. Okay.
Thank you, Nikki. Nadine, do you have any question?
I do. Thank you for the presentation. I wanted to just better understand who exactly is the payer here. Is it at what level will this be sold at, and who's exactly the customer?
The payer is the insurance company. So this already exists as an insured product in the US, reimbursed for outpatient catheterization under Medicare and Medicaid with an MOM code under CPT. The so to speak authorized party is the heart failure specialist. So it's a clinician product, and it requires consent by the patient. There are patients who are diagnosed already with stage 3 or 4 heart failure, and those comprise the 1 million patients cited in the US market today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Cindy or Keith?
Yeah, I probably have like 2 very brief questions. So first of all, just want to reassure, so your go-to-market is in the US, right? As you mentioned, everything about reimbursement population, it's all around this.
Yes, correct. So the entry market is the US, primarily not just because of reimbursement, but because the clinical pathway is known, as well as it being part of the toolkit, the existing toolkit and workflow of physicians there. That being said, in Europe and the UK, it's very well acknowledged as a category, and many of the leading heart failure specialists exist on the other side of the Atlantic. Sorry, you had another question?
Yeah, I think it's actually around the technology. As you mentioned, you're doing some studies. I'm wondering, how do you do your benchmark?
So what we have is surface acoustic wave technology, which is an industrial technology well known in automotive applications. The innovation has been to translate that into the human body, and that's patented until the mid-2030s. So it's very robust and well known, and has been since applied in clinical applications that have been demonstrated at lab and bench level. And we have, I should add, in the last 3 weeks, and this is publicized on our website and social media, been awarded a very competitive UK grant biomedical catalyst, which has less than 10% acceptance as a result of this innovation and commercialization.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. Kate?
Yeah, so just to confirm, you're basically a more cost-effective method than the current standard of care, which is CardioMEMS, right?
Absolutely not. Sorry, Keith. We are much lower cost, but that is absolutely not what we lead with. We are the first wearable data-centric approach, and thus we address the 50% who are not addressed today. That is exactly what we are. The added benefit is that we're about 20% of the cost, but no, it's around data centricity and wearability.
Okay, and then I was looking at page 17, which is your kind of the regulatory pathway.
Yes.
It seems unclear to when you would finally get, I guess, would be a phase 3 approval. So when would it be, in 2029 or?
Around circa 2028. So we're in depth discussions with a front-end regulatory consultant, Mike Drews, today, who's actually a consultant to the FDA. There are various things that can be done to rely on what's in market already to prove the equivalent of substantial equivalence in the class 3 world of PMAs. So we expect it to be Q4 2027 to Q1 2028.
Okay, I understand it now. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for the old question. Great presentation, Mohammed. Let's move to the next presentation. Thank you, Mohammed. Filippo, are you ready now?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I do.
Great. Should be able to see my screen now.
Yes, I do.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and thank you all for listening to Artiness and to our project. I'm Filippo Piatti, CEO and co-founder. We are developing a holographic software platform for mini-invasive interventions for planning and guidance based on 3D patient-specific data. Our major focus and market of interest is structural heart diseases, where we have transcatheter or mini-invasive approaches that are actually facing major complications and complexities due to anatomical variations of patients, the complexity of medical devices to be implanted and maneuvered through catheters and transcatheter approaches, and the loss of open heart surgery means that the team and the interventional cardiologist has to deliver such therapy through the guidance of imaging in a multimodal way based on CT scan, TE, fluoroscopy. That is why we found in the market a problem actually, which is related to a gap between what is procedural planning and what is currently imaging in the pre-procedural phase and what is actually the intra-procedural execution, which is relying on totally different imaging data, visualization system, environment, equipment, and skills from the team. This is why we are building a software solution, which is a mixed reality 3D image fusion system that actually allows to gather together imaging data, 3D patient-specific data, maneuvering of vertical delivery systems in a multimodal environment. What you see here, I hope you see it well, even if remotely the video, is a use case for realistic pre-procedural planning where physicians can together discuss on a virtual patient-specific replica to perform dynamic measurements on the heart and the CT scan and perform simulation of a transcatheter implant, as you will see now in a moment, defining the best sizing of the prosthesis, the best positioning, the best trajectory to deliver the optimal treatment for the patient, achieving a more effective 3D planning and improved communication. And then in the cath lab, as I will show in a second, get this information to achieve a faster imaging and improved device localization. Here you see the device in the pre-op phase, while the application that we currently have as a pre-market investigational use, of course, is to bring this information inside the cath lab together with the live information of the patient to have a constant review of the plan that was done and the constant matching of the information that the interventional cardiologists need to deliver the therapy. At what stage are we at the moment? We are certainly in a pre-market early stage. We still have a good clinical use and validation with more than 400 patients on which we have done pre-procedural planning. And we have already interactions and commitments from medical companies that are working with us and providing some cash flow and revenues based on commercial activities in Europe and in Italy, specifically with these three major companies, and that are building with us also a distribution into major markets. Strategically, this year we will focus on FDA submission for 510K clearance that we started at the end of last year, and we are now finalizing from a documental perspective, and we are developing these as an intended use for pre-procedural planning while moving intraprocedurally after the FDA clearance. This is getting together for a funding need of nearly 3.5 million euros, of which 500 is already committed at the moment to scale up the system. And then, of course, we foresee a 7 to 10 million round in 2025-2026. Just to close, an overlook of the team, myself and two other co-founders. We are a team of 16 people and experts and advisors in the business development and strategic, with a partner already in the US for early distribution and penetration in the US market. And I leave it to the advisory board team as a last slide, and I'm more than open to answer any question. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Filippo. Kate, would you like to start?
Sure. I have a couple of questions. So what's the actual technology you're using in the headset?
At the moment, the software, I specify, we are a software company. We do not customize the hardware. Our software at the moment and platform is optimized for Microsoft HoloLens 2.0 and Magic Leap 2.0. So mixed reality glasses with transparent glasses that enables a clear view intraoperatively. We will start soon to do some development testing also on Apple Vision to understand the pass-through technology if it's already there to allow our platform to work in such a critical environment.
And then my other question is on your competitive slide, you had a couple of MXR platforms. I think Sentiar and Pixel and RealView. Are they successful? Do they have a lot of traction in the marketplace?
For what we understand, Sentiar is moving in a different clinical field. They are focusing more on electrophysiology, while ErcoPixel is moving towards more pediatric patients, which is a niche for sure. What we are aiming is transcatheter for structural heart, which is a wider market, a bigger market. What we saw and gather as a feedback from the market is that the technology is still in an early adoption phase. We are not in a full scale-up commercialization and market perspective. So the time is good to deliver something innovative and to position in a market which is not crowded at all.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Ladina?
Yeah, thanks so much for the presentation. I wanted to get a bit more granularity on the sort of market size that you would be tackling here. And then specifically within that market size, also some details around the sort of customer persona that you expect for it to buy this.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much for the question. As regards the final persona or target that we have, for sure, we are targeting much more interventional cardiologists that are delivering transcatheter interventions either to heart valve diseases for mitral and tricuspid repair and replacement, but also for structural diseases like left atrial appendage occlusion. Those are the three major clinical applications that we foresee as entry market opportunities for interventional cardiologists. The target will be, of course, hospitals through distribution of the medical device once cleared on the market, but also we are collecting a lot of interest from the medical device companies themselves for specific commercial deals or asset deals to position the platform on their specific product lines, of course. As regards the market size, considering only these three kind of applications, looking at both European and US market, we expect to be able to achieve a market penetration of 15-20% with 100 million achievable market in 5-6 years.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Cindy?
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. Two questions. First of all, what kind of image you're working with? How do you do the multimodal integration of your data? And second question is actually around the hardware, if it could be hardware agnostics or it's really real on the headset you really need to use it.
Yeah, thank you very much for your question. For the first one, we are currently using and processing CT scan, standard CT scan taken on the patient. We have a research agreement with GE Healthcare to process live ultrasound data taken on the patient intraoperatively in the cath lab so that we can merge the two information for our intraoperative application. But the 3D model comes from the CT scan. On the second question, if we can be totally hardware agnostic, yes. our platform actually has already a desktop application that can run on the monitors inside the cath lab, but a very strong perceived value for the interventional cardiologist is the ability to maneuver those information through mixed reality glasses, through voice commands, hands commands, something which is very user-friendly, human-friendly, and sterile into the cath lab. So we are looking towards also a multi-hardware component of the application, and that is possible because a lot of the core of our system relies on cloud computing. So we are easily scalable, and we can take all the best hardware that we believe is the best to position on the market.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. Nikki, do you have any comments, feedback? We have just less than a minute, so maybe some feedback, question, and short
Okay. Just a quick question. I saw you had I think a partnership with Abbott already. What does that look like?
Yes, absolutely. We have a commercial partnership with them. So we license our software through a subscription mode to the Germany country. The software is used by their technical specialists that go on the field to support the planning and the decision-making of specific interventions in hospitals that are delivered with their medical devices. So they are working as field specialists with a complementary tool that is our platform at the moment in a pre-market investigational phase.
Great. Thank you so much, Filippo. Great presentation.
Thank you very much. A pleasure.
Thank you. And now we are moving to the final presentation. The final presentation is Pictogram-based Care Planning. Tomislav Markovic will do the presentation. Tomislav, are you there? Yes,
yeah.
You are.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
So, hello everyone. My name is Tomislav Markovic from Germany, and today I would like to present the Pictogram-based Care and Action Planning. Using market and classified pictograms, the solution automatically creates text descriptions, action plans, identifies risk, makes prognosis, and determines care levels. First, I want to speak about the problem. Care and action planning are the basic elements of nursing activities. The care personnel must identify and document the care problems and make an action planning. Sounds simple, but it's not. There is the same problem in hospitals and in retirement homes.
By the way, sorry, Tomislav, I'm not able to hear you very well. I don't know if it's me, but the others as well.
Yeah, it's a bit difficult also if you are actually changing your slides and it's not moving on our screen also.
Yeah, we're on the first page and your voice is not very clear. So if you have any headset, maybe you can try that. Or...
Hear me better now?
I think it's better.
Then I will change the screens like that. Okay.
I think we still can't hear you.
Yeah, it's not very good. Yeah.
I am sorry, but I can't do better. Like
Maybe like if you try to speak a bit louder, could be
better. I
but...
take my try. Okay. So care and action planning are the basic elements of nursing activities. The care personnel must identify and document the care problems and make action planning. Sounds simple, but it's not. There is the same problem in hospitals and the retirement homes. It takes a long time and it's complicated. It takes at least 30 minutes for one person to write down the same thing several times in different forms. In Germany, for example, in elderly care, you first write everything in the text form by typing in, then you identify the risks and describe them. Next, you open another form to determine the risk of care and enter the same information again for the health insurance company. Another form is there to define the care loss. When the nurse is satisfied with all this, she can start
Tomislav, I think we don't hear you at all, actually. If you like have another headset, like headphones or something like that, or try to maybe log in your phone. Otherwise, like, don't, yeah, let's try something else.
It's better or not? Can you hear me?
Yes, but like not very clear. So I'm not sure like everyone in the audience will have like good understanding of what you do.
I will make another thing. Maybe now? Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
I mean,
Maybe now? It's better? Hello?
yeah, kinda like not very good, but okay, let's try. Let's try to do it. Otherwise, like don't worry about it. I also will give you like another chance to present at my next event, or you will, you know, make some recording, send it to me. I will distribute recording. We'll do something, but let's at least try to give it a shot. We have 5 minutes. You can start from the beginning. Please be louder, and we'll try to understand you. Otherwise, we'll arrange that.
Like I started from the beginning and you told me it's all right?
Okay.
Okay. Sorry for that. Then my name is Thomas Martin from Germany, and today I would like to present the Pictogram-based Care Planning. Using mapping and classified pictogram, the solution automatically creates text description, action plans, identifies risks, makes prognosis, and determines care levels. First, I want to speak about the problem. Care and action planning are the basic elements of nursing activities. The care personnel must identify the documents and the care problems and make an action plan. It sounds simple, but it's not. There is the same problem in hospitals, in the retirement homes. It takes a long time and it's complicated. It takes at least 40 minutes for one patient to write down the same thing several times in different forms. In Germany, for example, in elderly care, we first write everything in the text form by typing it in. Then you identify the risk and describe them. Next, you open another form to determine the risk of care, and then enter the same information again for the health insurance company. Another form is there to define the care goals. When the nurse is satisfied with all of this, she can start with action plan, which is she must write or choose manually. The whole story sounds terrifying, but I want to mention another thing. Not every nurse speaks the language from another level. Now, I want to introduce my solution for this problem, the pictogram-based care and action planning. It is the few clicks and done solution, long awaited by care professionals, as everything is created automatically in the background, using marked and classified pictograms. Template systems are provided to further accelerate the medical process. As you can see here on the left, nurse looks at the patients and chooses a template. The user can also create new templates. The system automatically fills out the pictograms characteristically for the template. The nurse only needs to read them and change a couple if necessary. The logic behind that, it's easier to change a couple of things than to write everything from zero. Each pictogram and its classification carry information, so it's easier to automate everything. It's language independent, as the user does not even have to speak the language. Pictograms understand everybody. And here I would like to present the product from the user side. Select the template, change some pictograms if necessary, read and confirm the created forms. That's it. A few clicks and about 5 minutes. Since pictograms are happily able to help your system all over the world, everyone understands them. The global market is enormous. Just in Germany, there are more than 30,000 outputs in the nursing homes and more than 1,900 hospitals. Here you can see the competitors in Germany, but at the same time, they are potentially biased as well. The most important competitors are EPA, ATSE, and Nuance. EPA use drop-down menus to create the care planning, but they don't have templates, they don't do text, risk identification, or care level determination. Nuance is a dictation, speed-based system. It has troubles if you are not native speaker, and it costs you almost the same time as speaking. EPA and Nuance are for hospitals. The other developers use most of the models from EPA. In elderly care, it's almost everything manually written in the software. I present here that my product will be a module able to be implemented in existing hospital IT systems and care documentation software. Currently, I'm searching for an investor to fund my setup. I'm the inventor, and it's currently 100% mine. I have already registered it for German patent in February. In the first year, I planned with product development and worldwide patent application, and in the second year with sales. My financing requirements for the first 2 years is 1.6 million euros. If it comes to revenue, I calculate with exit or leads and sales from software. And there you can see my contact dates if I may be interested. I want to take the care election planning easier and faster for millions of care workers in healthcare, and I hope you will support me on my way. Thank you for your attention.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tomislav. There was still a problem. Your voice is not very clear, so I'm not sure the Q&A part will be sufficient. So I don't know, we can try, but otherwise we can set another thing for you. Like, I don't know, you can, make some recording, send it to me. We will, send this recording to relevant people, etc. Or we will page my next event so we can do something else. What do you think? Or we can try this Q&A part, but I'm not sure it will be good enough for everyone.
I don't know. I don't know what the other people think, or if it was clear or not.
Yeah.
I'm okay with asking some questions. So
Okay.
because I looked at the deck. One question is, I think you're focused on the German market, right?
Currently, yes.
Yes. So where would you go after Germany? What market would you go to?
My plans in first time Germany and then DACH region. It's a German-speaking region, and after that, the big countries worldwide. Every big country, USA, Russia, or a lot of them. But first, I want to make a worldwide patent because I want to stop the conference with the same things as time.
Okay, and then do you actually have a prototype or an MVP now? Do you have something that you've worked, say, in a clinical setting and developed?
No, unfortunately, I'm really in the early phase. So I have nothing. I have just my idea and everything documented on my PC. And I must find somebody to finance me because I'll align. I can't finance everything that's a private person. So I wanted the first year to make the software development to get something in the hand. Because without the software, I can make the sales.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Keith. Anyone else have a question? Nikki or Cindy?
I mean, I kind of have a very similar questions with Keith that so at the moment the problem you see is basically in Germany, and how do you think this is actually transferable to other countries that you are looking into?
I think this is a really good solution for German market because, as I said, actually almost everybody uses EPA, and that's the question in text form, and you use drop-down. So the nurse sit down 1 hour and answer hundreds of questions. But my solution is just a few clicks, and everything is automatically there. So I can be a big component for EPA and Nuance as well. And I have spoken with a lot of consultants in Germany, and everybody told me that it's a fantastic idea, and it can be a really simple place in German healthcare IT systems for nurses and for elderly care and for hospitals as well. I think I can make the software forward because the process is the same. So you will see a lot of pictograms. In pictograms, as you can see it on the screen, you will just recognize what's it. But in the background, the automatically text and automatically other things, then you need to get the language from the country. And that's very simple. I have spoke with a software developer, and he told me it's easy to do something like that. He changed simply the text in the background.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. Nadia or Nikki?
For me, the one of the questions I had was around the care planning. So a lot of these care planning meetings that happen, they tend to happen with multidisciplinary teams where they all get together and plan the care of the patient. Does the platform facilitate this in any way?
Yeah, I can speak about elderly care and the hospitals. I have spoken with a lot of nurses in my job, and I asked them how you do in Germany, for example, the care planning, and everybody's told me we simply make copy-paste from some other personnel, other patients, because we have no time. So maybe theoretically it's a complicated and multi-team job, but in the practice it's not so. So in Germany, for example, the patient is waiting for an operation. He is in hospital, and the nurse make first planning, and after the operation, the nurse make another planning from zero, because there are no templates. And there is why I can help. You can always name a template and just attach a couple of differences, and you can run it in a few minutes. And in elderly care, the situation is much worse. Every single nurse will read it manually, just by typing in this. It's powerful. I worked 9 years in IT healthcare and in the elderly care as manager, and I saw a lot of patients by the inspections of the insurance company, and they had no documentation. The answer of staff we had no time. I work at the patient after 8 hours, and I can't stay house for the documentation. So in Germany, we have a big problem with the documentation with care. And it's so well known that the quality of the is very known.
Okay, understood. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Nikki, do you have anything to add?
No, it's all good.
Okay, thank you so much. And time is already up. Thanks so much, Tomislav, and don't worry about the problems. We will talk about it after the event. Don't worry about it. Yeah, thank you. And so this is it. Maybe just we finish the meeting. I can hear like some final words from the judges. Keith, what do you think about the event concept?
Oh, I thought it was really good. There were a lot of really interesting companies, and it seemed to be a pretty diverse set of solutions. So I really enjoyed it. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you so much, Keith, being here. Nikki?
Yeah, totally agree. I enjoyed the diversity, not only of the disease indications, the markets that the companies operated in, and also the stages. So I totally agree on that. And I learned a lot at the same time. So I hope it was the same for everyone. And thank you so much for having me.
Thanks so much, Nikki. Nadine? Adina?
Yeah, agree with both of my colleagues. They were both spot on. I really enjoyed it, and considering it's always hard to pull off something completely online with technical difficulties, this was very well organized. So thank you
so much, Cindy.
Yeah, I think I can just echo with this diversities and very interesting talk. Yeah, and I think this is already my second time attending this. It's always amazing to see people online and really devoted from the beginning to the end.
Thank you so much, all the judges, all the people, investors in the audience, presenters. Thank you all. We'll have the next one in June or July. We'll announce this within maybe 2 months. Hope to see all of you there. Thanks so much for being here, staying us until the end. And yeah, thank you, and see you later at our future event.
Nice to meet everyone.
Nice to meet you, and nice to meet you.
to meet you all.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Bye.